itself, what might be the best route for the system to collapse? How might it collapse?
The system is installing more and more automation. You know what that means? The auto companies used to have thousands of people assembling automobiles. Today the car is carried by conveyor and the wheels are put on automatically. So they're doing away with personal help. That means eventually, if they keep automating, the majority of people will not have the money to pay off their cars, their houses, or anything else. So the system is self-defeating. It'll die of its own accord, just due to inefficiency.
Except the only thing is, that doesn't really answer the question. Because the thing is, we're hoping that we're not going to be stuck in a chaotic state of anarchy or the
Yes,
self. We are?
You're going to go through all that.
No.
That's what brings people to question things. They have to lose their home, lose their job, lose respect for the people they elected. Then they're ready to live.
I feel like a lot of people are here right now because they do feel like that, but they're not going through that anarchy yet, but they just realize that they don't trust the politicians, they don't trust the system they're in.
The majority of people still do, otherwise they wouldn't vote for them.
So maybe if more people just see the way we see or that I see, it could change.
If you work on them, yes. If you do nothing, nothing will happen.
Yeah.
When you leave here, if you don't talk to people about the Venus Project, nothing will happen. Yes.
I think it's a part of a process, cyclic process, everything that what is happening. So
He said he thinks it's part of a cyclical process that's happening.
it happened with civilizations before.
Every time we had a war, it pulled us out of the Depression.
Yeah, but this is
This
the
time we
story
have
of
a big
humans.
war, and it didn't pull us out.
He said, but this is the story of humans.
Humanity has been like that forever. Like
Humanity has been like that forever.
What's that?
He says, this is the story of humans. Humanity has been that way forever.
No, we've never
it's
had
a cyclic process.
a world recession. All over the world,
all down.
things are falling apart. We never had that before. All over the world, we've been on a global lecture tour to every big country, and they're all falling apart.
It's been like that.
I don't
Because
think
it's a process of nature. It's everything goes to a point and then descends. It's like a cyclic process.
He said everything goes to a certain point and then descends like a cyclical process.
not anymore. It used to. The U.S. was in a very bad depression. 1929, the crash was very bad. What pulled us out the war was Germany, Japan, and Italy, and Spain pulled us out. The war industries hired people to make machine guns, submarines, aircraft carriers. Everybody went back to work. Now they have war, and it's not employing people because we're outsourcing to China, Thailand. We're automating at the same time so that we're not making jobs. We're putting jobs out. Outsourcing means sending work to other countries that do it for less. And if you don't do that, you'll be out of business. If you're a good man and you keep Americans working in your factory, you'll lose a competitive edge. And if you're a nice guy and you turn out vacuum cleaners 10 times faster than my company, if you come over to me and show me how you do it, you will lose the competitive edge. So you're not willing to share your ideas with me. Do you understand that? Okay.
On the tour, Roxanne explained that in some of your airplane designs years ago, there was something about a probe you mentioned, Roxanne? There was a probe that you had on the front of the plane that allowed it to go faster?
I think he's asking you to explain the system you have in front of your plane, the probe in front of the plane, in front of the monorails that breaks the air.
Not yet.
No, he's asking you to explain it, what that was, or what
By
you're saying.
discharging electrons by a probe in front.
Yeah.
Discharge, causing the air molecules to open up to repel each other. You'll have less skin friction. No company is using it yet. Any other questions?
How do you change
Will
the
you stand
minds?
up, sir?
Yeah. How do you change the minds of the wealthy right now, and also get them to let the power go? Like how the power that they have. How would you?
How do you change the minds of the wealthy and have the wealthy let go of the power that they have right now? How will that happen?
How would you do that today? Like if you were.
I knew a guy named Henry Berliner. He owned an aircraft factory. And when I went to visit him, the government was there saying, we're going to take over your factory. He said, why? Because you haven't paid taxes for 3 years on your equipment. He said, I have no orders for airplanes. There's a recession on. Take the goddamn factory. They give up their factory. If you've got a factory that isn't selling anything, you can't even sell the factory. Do you understand that? So you say, take it to the government. The government will take over when they fail. Chevy failed, you know about that. The government bailed them out. But they can't turn out a better car than Toyota. Toyota turns out a better product for a lower price. And that's why they won't come back. Even though the government bailed them out, they won't come back. Unless they got a better car than Toyota.
And Detroit is 14 billion in debt now, I heard on the news last night. 14 billion in debt for the city of Detroit. They have an emergency manager now.
So, in all these questions about how the system will fail or prosper, it seems as though we've been discussing within the framework of what we know currently as the market system. Could you see any sort of relapse towards historically previous conditions, such as quote-unquote neo-feudalism? Could you see a sense of, because you mentioned like if there's no, like, you said the system would collapse because the money wouldn't be there, but could you see?
No, the system collapses because nobody invests in something. Nobody will invest in automobile companies if they can't compete with Toyota. Who's going to invest? You'd rather invest in Toyota. You know what I mean? Why invest in a company that isn't making money? According to the Japanese, they are building more automation than we are. In fact, when I was a kid, they told me that the Oriental mind can't grasp technology. Right now, the Japanese are way ahead of us in technology.
But isn't that assuming a free market structure where
Free market
competitiveness?
structure doesn't work. It's just BS, bad science, or bullshit, depending on your background. There's no such thing as a free market. Everything is controlled. Any other questions?
Yes, so the reality of the situation is, as of right now, you guys don't have enough money to create what you guys want to do. So what is the general plan to get people to invest? Because this won't make them money. This is taking out the monetary system. So what is that plan? What is that?
So after the collapse, right? How do we
Not
start?
even after the lapse.
How would you go
right now if you wanted to get
After the collapse?
No.
Not even after, but how would we start the Venus?
Talk to
Begin
other
production.
people about what the Venus Project is. And nobody makes decisions, they arrive at them. They base all their decisions on the carrying capacity of the environment. Hope you know what that means. Do you?
I think so.
If the earth doesn't have enough water for its people, they will die of thirst. So the earth has to work on those systems. Otherwise, you'll get a military dictatorship, which you're going to get anyway. But the military dictatorship cannot pay salary to military because they don't have taxes.
So you're saying that there's going to be some sort of collapse and that will lead to some sort of anarchy dark period?
Yes.
So, I have trouble with that one. The reason why I have trouble with that one is because we've already come out of that, and I believe that people are already ready for this change. I feel like that, especially kids in my generation, people like me, like like that, it's gonna be, I feel like it could be a subtle change, it could be more subtlety, because
That'd be nice.
it would be nice, but
Yeah, I'd like it to happen that way, but I have no control.
What if automation
But I do.
eventually took over and it turned
I have
into?
control, you don't. But I have control over the change. I have over the transition. That's what I have control
Our
over.
generation.
My generation. We have.
Then you have to go out and educate people.
Yeah,
the
That's what you
more-
have to do.
The more you understand it, and the better you can communicate it, the theory is that the transition will be that much less painful. I mean, there's going to be some sort of transition one way or another. It'd be great if it was peaceful. Odds are saying it's not, but the quicker you can move it along, that means the less suffering and pain there will be. But you can only move it along quicker if you have critical mass and enough people that understand it. They can talk about it and say, look, we don't need to just have, because so many people, all they understand is the monetary market system, the value system, that type of thing. They work for money. And it's like, you can tell people, look, it doesn't, you don't have this one choice, there is this other choice over here. Then it'll make it transpire that much quicker. So instead of 100 years for the transition to take 50 or 20 or 10 or 6 months. Yeah, exactly. The thing is, the more people you can get, the more they can understand it, the more folks like you communicate it, the easier and quicker it's going to go. I mean, you know, ideally, maybe it would happen so quick with such modern technology like 3D printing and some of the things that are coming online right now, that we'd almost have no revolution at all. We might get really lucky to escape right into it.
That's what
we hope that's the case. Nobody wants to see suffering, but the thing is, the more people that are aware of this and communicate it and understand this direction and spread it to other people, the less painful it's going to be. So that's all we can tell. Nobody here can tell the future. That's the general idea. If that helps.
Yeah, it does help. Thank you.
Just do the best you can in talking. And that's all you can do.
I feel like with the automation already taking the jobs of people, it may assist in the easier transition.
It'll because then it will hit home more for people.
Even if you automate and the public doesn't have purchasing power, it won't be successful.
Yeah, you're right. That's because the even if it becomes personalized, it's going to be too expensive for most people to have. That's why I believe that, because you said that, like, civilization, we're not actually in civilization. We're in a process of civilizing. So yeah, being civilized. So this process of being civilized, I believe that because we've gotten to this point where we have democracy. Democracy is a form of social control.
It's a slow.
Yeah, it's slow.
It can't happen that slow.
But maybe it could be the jumpstart for the transition. You know what I mean? Like if there was
It could be if you get to the right people.
Yeah, people who believe in.
You have the courage, and you don't get angry at people.
Yeah.
If you learn to talk to them and change them without fighting with them. Don't ever get
angry, because you can't get angry at people who are getting mad at you for what you're saying, because you're challenging their reality. And cognitive dissonance says that pretty much makes them go into defense mode. And yeah, that's why you can never just like it says, like if the enlightened people point you in the direction, they don't make you go through the door, they just show you the door.
If that you can do.
Yeah.
Is point to the door. And ask them what the matter is. If they feel that there's anything wrong with your system, what's wrong with it? We're willing to change our direction if you have ideas that are better. We don't have all the answers. We have many of them. Okay?
And that's good. Because
don't force anybody. Don't twist their wrist or send armies in. Don't do it that way.
And just because democracy is so slow, and the nature of nature is just.
Let me give you an exact thing. Head of the Klan in Miami said to me, he said, "Jacque, you're a smart guy. What do you think of the KKK?" I said, "You want me to be frank with you?" He said, "Yes." I said, "It's a great organization, but it doesn't go far enough. That gets us here." What do you mean? If you attack, you're losing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Never attack. If a guy says, "I believe in 25 different gods," say, "Great, but it doesn't go far enough." And he said, "What do you mean?" Then you can talk.
Yeah.
But if you attack, you lose it. So you have to use strategy rather than logic. You know what I mean by that?
Yes.
Okay. You can't use reason on people that doesn't know what reason is. That's my mother. My mother said when I brought a Japanese kid home, I don't want that kind around. Because she was brought up by people that hate Japanese. She called them slanty-eyed bastards. So I said, I used logic, didn't work at all. I still don't want it all. So I figured, gee, if I can't change my mother, I can't change people. So I told her a lie. So I was swimming in the East River, and I couldn't get ashore because there's a high wall, that's true. And she said, what happened? This Japanese kid worked on a boat, and he threw a lifesaver to me. I'd be dead if it wasn't for Masato. That isn't true. I just told her that. She said, oh my God, I sure hurt his feelings, didn't I? I said, yes, you did, mother, when you said you don't want that kind around. Please, Jacque, I cannot sleep at night unless I can beg forgiveness from this boy and thank him for saving your life. So I don't know if he'll come back now. Because I wanted my mother to plead more, and she pleaded more. Please, Jacque, have him come back, I can't sleep. I said, I'll ask him. And I called Masato and said, the minute you walk in the door, my mother's going to hug you, kiss you, and God bless you for saving my life. She's going to do that because that's her background. And at dinner she was talking to her. And when Masato went to the washroom, I came back and I said, what do you think of him, Mother? She said, you know, he's a decent human being just like you and I. So I went like that. She said, you shouldn't do that. He saved your life. I said, remember the yellow race. I made that face. She said, that has nothing to do with it. He's using all my arguments now to defend him. A month later, she really liked him. So she called him son. She put her arm around Masato and me, and she says, son, once that happened, I said, Mother, he never saved my life. And she said, you little devil, I would have never opened the doors either. Do you understand? Some people are not logical. But always tell the truth, sooner or later. Yes.
But don't you feel that that was opening her heart more than her mind?
So it is opening her heart.
The programming is in the mind, but
in the old days, when you met somebody that you liked, your heart would beat very fast. And they used to think the seat of the emotions is in the heart, not the brain. They didn't know, so they had a good heart. They thought there was the heart that was the seat of the emotions. They know it's the brain now. So there's a lot of things that are false out there. All your schools, your universities are better equipped than ever. They have electron microscopes, they have everything, and the bombs are getting worse. They have more death per bomb and more nerve in the nerve gases. So it's not a good sign. Even though your universities are better equipped, they're full of shit too. They have propaganda machines rather than information machines, which they should be. So what we want to do is raise all people to their top performance, whatever that is. And that's the way it'll be in the future. No politics, automation running everything. Eventually, we move from non-political scientific methods then to automated methods.
So there can't be any type of way to combine scientific method and political. Well, how? So what exactly is going to keep orders between cities? What if there's going to be what if there's disagreements? Just what if?
Wow.
Oh yeah, you said that there's not going to be.
Make your cities, I don't know if I got any up there, round. You make your cities round, they cost less. Just have each architect, take New York City. At 4 o'clock, everybody gets off work. And your freeways are jammed. If you have 1/7 of the population off every day of the week, it's never jammed. The beaches on Saturday and Sunday are so crowded in Miami, you can hardly get there. But if you take 1/7 of the population and have them get off every day of the week, every other day, you don't have any beach jams. You don't have any freeway jams. Only if everybody gets off at 4 o'clock. Some get off at 3:30, some get off at 4:30, some get off at 5, so your freeways are never jammed.
So, but who's gonna make these
This
regimentations?
plan, the Venus Project, has all of those plans.
Oh, so the Venus Project is like, what type of entity is it? Is it a
Geothermal.
Oh, well, no, and not energy, entity, like what exactly is the Venus Project as a,
Who's in command?
yeah, like what is it as is it just a concept? Is it like, or how is it actually going to, like regiment these people? Like what's gonna make that person go to work at that day and then have them come
That's
out?
a good question.
That's what I was
By
thinking.
education.
Education.
There is no other way. You have to teach children about dynamic equilibrium.
Yeah.
But you can't put 1,000 cows in an area where there's no planned water. It won't work. And you can't just make jobs. Jobs have to be based upon what people want to buy.
Because if you think about it, like all like kids, like when they're born, they're creative and they're forward thinking, you know.
Kids are born and they ask a lot of good questions,
Yeah.
but they soon flatten out.
Because of the education system. And really that, I think that is what needs to change and can be changed through the political system. If the
That works
education,
on young kids.
yeah, if you could start from the future, like,
It's easier.
yeah,
But 17 and 18-year-olds are also good, because they're not part of the establishment. You know what I mean by that? Once you become part of the establishment means that our society found a way of working, and they use that. Ours is called an emergent society. Nothing's established. Everything is in transition, growing continuously. There are no final frontiers, no best city, no best transportation. Everything is always changing. Your computers get smaller, lighter, do more, but there's no final product. Here's the last word, no such thing. To believe that there's the best city or the best way to design computers doesn't make sense. It's only the best you can design up to now with what you know.
It's always changing.
It's always changing.
yeah, and that's why a political system doesn't work the way it does now, because it doesn't change enough, and it doesn't support that change. Just like it's not supporting.
A nation that can look ahead will be bypassed by China or Japan or other nations. Do you understand what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with how much you love the country. If the country doesn't look to the future and change, other countries will pass us by. We once hold the lead. Egypt once used to be the center of the world's attention. It's no longer that. There's a lot of countries that no longer have that. Germany listened to a guy named Adolf Hitler, who was a very idiotic person, had no real information. And what he had to offer didn't work.
He was just charismatic.
Yes. And we have a lot of charismatic people
So,
running for political office.
and there's a lot of people who will blindly follow those people. And that's why I believe that those people are actually going to make it easier for the transition, because those people don't think for themselves. They might actually just go along with the transition.
But they are in the majority, and they can hurt you, make your delay painful.
That's true.
They can shoot you while you're speaking because of what they think. You understand?
And because of what you think.
Yeah. What they think you think.
Yeah.
They don't know enough about it. So they shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah. So I just guess maybe the reason why I have so many questions is because like I like learned about this a lot, and I tell people all the time, like I teach kids all the time. Kids come through my house all the time, and I'm just sitting in my living room talking about your views in a better place. But I feel like the biggest question, the biggest thing is that they are just not hopeful. They just have no hope. And that's what scares me. It's not that like people are hearing
They
like
understand
that.
it.
They
don't
get it.
believe
They see
You
that.
can give them hope.
Yeah, I try to.
I didn't blind that telling you.
Yeah.
If you talk to women, you talk to men. It's easy. the guys who
I can't talk to women that much.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
I've been practicing 75 years of talking to different kinds of people with different views and turning them around. I did explain how I changed the flat Arab thing, did I? How I changed the Arabs? Did I? Oh, roughly, what I did is I got to see this guy, and he said to me, he pointed to his head, he showed me how smart he was. And he says, if we do this, everything's gonna work out all right. He said the world is flat, not round. So I had to take that notion out of his head. So I gave him a balloon. And I put some cornflakes in his hand, told him to hold the hand away from the balloon. And I rubbed the balloon with fur, fast. And all the cornflakes jumped all over the balloon. And he said, the world's a magnet? I said, yeah. Ah, and he explained that to the other Arabs. Took 2 hours. I went slower than I go here. But I've changed them. The Ku Klux Klan, I dissolved it in a month and a half. I didn't go as fast as I go here. Then I worked on the white civics movement. They hate foreigners, all foreigners. I dissolved that in 1 month alone. So that's the only hope I've got, is changing people to a certain structure or strategy.
Jacque, we have to cut it because some of the people who came with the group have to go at a certain time.
Okay. Roxanne will show you the books that'll help you understand. Read the book twice. It's called The Best That Money Can't Buy. It's Beyond War, Poverty, Politics. Read that book twice when you leave here. I'm sorry it comes from me, but I go on for years. It took me a long time to work this out, but I worked on every aspect of it. The most bigoted people in the world.
I feel like it's just like up to us now, or up to us like as like a generation, a younger generation.
Just keep up the good work, don't quit,
Yeah, don't care.
and don't get angry, don't
Exactly.
fight with anybody.
That's what I want to do.
I like how you teach, because you tell stories, and like that, like telling stories like is a lot better.
Yeah, it's a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
I have a 4-year-old and she's gonna start school soon. And I'm terrified of conventional schools because I don't believe in them. I did find a Waldorf school which really emphasizes the creativity and teaching just kids, you know, instead of teaching them just what's in the book. So what do we do with our kids? How do we, you know, since we don't have
You have children now?
I have one. I have a 4-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
And
Introduce them to books, Science for the Layman. You know what that means? Science for the Layman.
okay.
Introduction to science, what it is. That's the best you can do.
It's a book?
Oh, there are many books
Okay.
on how to understand science. That's the best you can do. I'm sorry, I can't give you any type of package, but the book will have it. When you leave here, you get the tapes and the books, they tell you all about the things you
So I can't pay. That's the only thing. Pay.
tell
And that really goes down to pretty much the core of everything.
And we can't operate unless we
Of course.
have sharing capacity.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Yeah.